Have you ever noticed that moment? The one that's just between sleeping and waking? It's this weird, suspended state where you're kind of conscious, but you're not really yourself yet. You're aware, but the thoughts haven't kicked in. It's a space we pass through every single day, and yet we almost never remember it.
Well, that feeling, that in-between space, is exactly what we're diving into today. The ideas we're exploring come from a piece called The Book of Thresholds, and it's all about these powerful, totally overlooked spaces and, well, what they can teach us.
So, first up, let's just explore where these spaces even exist. We can call it the architecture of between.
Okay, so what are we really talking about here? The word is threshold, and it's basically that sacred and usually unnoticed space between things, between states, between moments, between identities. The Japanese have this incredible word for it, ma. It describes that pregnant emptiness between things. And the key here is that it's not just an empty gap. It's the very place where transformation happens.
And this isn't some new idea we just cooked up. It's actually a forgotten one. Ancient peoples totally got this. They saw thresholds as both sacred and dangerous places. Where one world met another, and all the usual rules kind of bent.
The crazy thing is, once you start looking for them, you see them absolutely everywhere. Just think about doorways. We rush through them all the time without a second thought, right? But a doorway is the classic physical threshold. It's a space that's neither one room nor the other.
Or what about adolescence? That's a threshold that's stretched out over years. You're not a kid anymore, but you're definitely not an adult yet. You're just stuck in this developmental limbo, not really belonging to either world.
And it's not just about life stages. Every single creative act starts in a threshold. Think about a blank page. It's just pure potential. It's that space between having an idea and having a finished thing. And it is full of both amazing possibility and, let's be honest, a ton of uncertainty.
And maybe the most powerful one of all? Falling in love. That incredible moment when you're not strangers anymore, but you're not quite lovers yet. You're just living in that delicious and, kind of terrifying uncertainty between what you were and what you might become.
Okay, so if these spaces are so powerful and so important, why do we try so hard to avoid them? Well, that brings us right to the core tension of any threshold, the danger and the opportunity.
The short answer is we rush through them because ambiguity makes us really, really uncomfortable. We want clear, solid boundaries. Are you a child or an adult? Single or married? Asleep or awake? That whole in-between thing, it just feels unstable, temporary. It feels like a problem we need to solve, not something we should actually experience.
But here's a crucial question. What if we've got it all backwards? What if transformation doesn't happen despite all that uncertainty and ambiguity, but actually because of it?
Just think about a caterpillar for a second. It doesn't just grow wings and call it a day. No way. Inside that chrysalis, it dissolves completely. It literally turns into a liquid soup. It has to become totally undifferentiated. And it's only from that state of complete dissolution, that ultimate threshold, that the brand new form of the butterfly can emerge. This is such a brilliant illustration of what a crisis really is. The Chinese character for crisis is made up of two symbols. One means danger, and the other means opportunity. The danger of dissolving completely, and the opportunity to become something totally new. And that right there is the very definition of a threshold. So this all presents us with a choice, really, in how we deal with these moments. It's not about avoiding them. We can't. It's about learning how to engage with them. So let's look at two totally different approaches. Crossing versus dwelling. Let's be real, most of us are crossers. We see a threshold and we treat it like an obstacle, something to just get through as fast as we can. We just endure that in-between feeling because we're so focused on arriving at the destination. But dwelling, that's a whole different skill set. It's about inhabiting the threshold like it's its own country. It means you're focused on the process, on the journey, and you actually start to find wisdom in the ambiguity. You become, in a way, a native of the in-between. So who are these dwellers in the real world? Well, they're the artists who have to be comfortable staring at that blank page. They're the shamans, standing right between the human and spirit worlds. They're the diplomats, whose whole job is to live in the space between two incompatible sides. And they're the mystics, the ones who learn to just live inside a question without desperately needing an answer. All their power comes from their ability to dwell in that between space.
Okay, for this last part,
we're going to bring this all the way home, because this whole conversation isn't really about external spaces, doorways, and things. Ultimately, it's about the fact that you are the threshold.
All right, here's a kind of a wild thought for you. The idea that you are one solid continuous self, it's a convenient story. It's a fiction. I mean, we tell ourselves that story so we can get through the day, but the reality, it's way, way more fluid than that.
And your own body is the proof. It is a living, breathing threshold. I mean, think about it. With every single breath you take in, the outside world enters you and literally becomes part of you. And with every breath you let out, you release a part of yourself back into the world. You're in this constant, nonstop fluid exchange.
So let me ask you a direct question. Who were you just a few minutes ago when you started listening to this? I mean, you've taken in new information, new ideas. Are you exactly the same person you were then?
And let's take it a step further. Who are you becoming right now, in this very moment? See, transformation isn't some big, dramatic event that's going to happen someday. It's a constant process. It's happening right now, in the tiny little space between one of your thoughts and the next.
Which really leaves us with this one last idea to chew on. What if you're not just a person who crosses thresholds? What if you are the threshold? The constant, beautiful, and uncertain space between the person you just were and the person you are still becoming.